Hey everyone. I'm sorry that I couldn't make a video last week. I had a few things going on. I don't know about you guys, but I've been freezing my balls off over here in Pennsylvania. I mean, it hasn't been too bad, but this past week there were a few days with wind chill. It was below 0 degrees, and honestly, I was in the Marine Corps Reserve Infantry for 6 years, and I was in a cold weather unit. So honestly, I'm just happy that I don't have to sleep in a snowy dirt hole in the ground anymore. As long as I have a warm house to go home to, as long as I have a warm bed to crawl into at night, that's all I care about. Anyway, I want to talk a little bit about what freedom is today. What is freedom? Because we don't hear that word too often anymore. We hear a lot about walls. We hear a lot about China. We hear a lot about free stuff. But we don't hear much about freedom. But in order to answer what freedom is, we must first define coercion. So what is coercion? Coercion is when you persuade someone to do something by using threats or violent force. That is coercion. So freedom is simply the absence of coercion. Now, it's not coercion if you force a convicted murderer to go to jail, or if you arrest a thief or a robber. But it is coercion when you use force to prevent peaceful people from acting. So people who are not infringing on anyone else's rights. If you try to stop someone for doing something when they're not hurting or stealing from anyone else, then that is coercion. In order to be free, we must have tolerance. This is very important, the principle of tolerance. We have to realize that in order for us to be free, we have to allow everyone else to be free. Because if you want to exert your will on someone and you're able to do that through government, that means that somebody else is capable of using government to exert their will upon you. And that is not what we want. And the great thing about freedom is that not only does it lead to the most prosperity, but it is also the most moral system imaginable. And I always thought it was funny how freedom is just such a hard message to pass along. I just want you to be free, damn it. What's so hard about that? Don't you want to be free? Don't you want to be left alone? Not left alone, but not told what to do. Because every man is created equal. I don't care who you are. No one has the right to exert their will on someone who is not violent or is not stealing from someone. And I think a large problem is that there's a lot of confusion about not only what freedom is, but there's a lot of confusion about what a right is. People have no idea what it is to have a right. Right? There are two different types of rights. There's positive rights and there's negative rights. So leftists and statists, a lot of them believe in what you call a positive right. So the right to health care, the right to have a cake baked for your gay wedding. Positive rights are not rights. It is not a right if you are forcing someone else to act because you're infringing on their rights. No, the only true right there is are negative rights, are the rights that I believe in. A negative right is just the fact that someone cannot prevent you from acting. That is a negative right. So I have the right to pursue health care, but I do not have a right to health care. Because if I had a right to health care, then that means that anyone in the healthcare industry would be a slave. You can't compel people to act. Can't force people to act. That is not a right. You don't have healthcare without doctors. And you can't force doctors to treat you. So it's not your right. You have the right to go see a doctor if you want. If there's a doctor willing to see you, but you don't have a right to his labor. And when it comes to democracy, everybody has the idea, everyone believes the notion that democracy is a good thing. What we need is democracy. The goal should not be democracy. The goal should be limited government. What good is democracy if it does not bring you limited government? So yes, democracy can be a tool that we can utilize in order to gain limited government, but it is often more of a detriment to society than it is a positive. Because with democracy, we are allowing the majority to dictate the rights of the minority. There is no such thing as collective rights. There is only individual rights. The honest truth is that democracy corrupts society. When people think it's all right to exert their will on someone who's not infringing on their rights just to get what they want, that is corruption and immorality. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand that in any society, there has to be some sort of collective arrangement. Unless you choose to live as a hermit, isolated from everyone else, there has to be some sort of societal collective. But I think that we should pursue that through voluntarism. And what we have to do is not cast votes, not run for office. We have to change the minds of the people, because that is the only way we are going to achieve freedom, not through casting votes. I think that it is important for Americans, for the whole world, to embrace what you call the non-aggression principle. So it is not okay to use violence, there's a difference between violence and aggression. Violence is good. This world needs violent people. Aggression is when you unjustly use violence. But it is this non-aggression principle. It's the principle that we should not initiate violent force against people who are not infringing on anyone else's rights. So as long as they let you live your life the way you want to live it, then it is not right to use aggression against them. And everywhere all I hear is just take away more of our freedom, tax us more, spend more money, steal more from us. You know, the elite has done a great job when they've been able to convince people that they need more money stolen from them. Isn't that crazy? To me, that just seems batshit insane. The fact that people think that they need more money stolen from them. Like that's going to fix things. And obviously, since he's the guy in power, I have to rag on Trump. Just for instance, these tariffs. What is a tariff? Tariffs are a tax against us, against Americans. We have to pay a tax in order to purchase imports. That's what a tariff is. It's not a tax on the Chinese or whoever we're putting the tariff on. It's a tax on us. And by definition, a tax cannot be good for the economy, because you're siphoning out resources, you're siphoning out capital of the market that can be used for capital investment, which grows an economy. You're siphoning that out and giving it to government, which squanders it, which can't create or produce anything of value. But the thing is, not only does government intervention not work, but it is immoral. What is Trump saying to us by putting tariffs on the Chinese or whoever he wants to put them on? What is he saying? He's basically saying, in other words, that Americans are so stupid. We are so stupid that we can't even make our own decisions. We can't even make our own purchasing decisions. So I have to make it for them. This should make people sick. Makes me sick, that's for sure. The fact that some guy sitting in an office thinking that he's smarter than us and he knows how to run the economy better than we can. The people that are mainly responsible for us losing our liberties is the general population, because they are the ones that can cast votes. But in my opinion, the main institution that has caused the most infringement of our liberties is the Federal Reserve. That is why it is so important to me to end this thing, to cut the head off of the snake. Most problems when it comes to America stems from the Federal Reserve, because they are the ones that create the money and gives it to government, which enables government to have more power. And we witnessed that over this past 100 years. Every single decade, Americans lost more and more of our freedom. We have to end this, guys. We have to end this by spreading the message. By spreading the message of sound money and liberty. We should all be doing this. We are the new Jacksonians. We will bring freedom to our monetary system once again. And the thing is, like I said, I don't like forcing people to do anything. So I don't think we should force the Federal Reserve to close its doors. We simply have to end its monopoly, because we are forced to use their Federal Reserve notes. We're forced through taxation, capital gains tax. I can't use gold as money, because if I do, and inflation increases and gold does what it's supposed to do and keeps up with inflation, when I go to spend it, I'm going to have to pay a tax on those nominal gains, those paper gains. In reality, they're not gains. It's just keeping up with inflation. The value's not increasing. So they force you to pay a capital gains tax when you want to use real money. And there's plenty of other laws that enable this system, such as extreme regulation, fascist regulation on the banking system. You think anyone can just go ahead and open up a commercial bank? It doesn't work like that. So we don't have to end the Federal Reserve. We just have to end its monopoly. It's literally like, imagine that there is a banana stand, and the government tells us, you have to use their bananas. If you want to buy a banana, it has to be from them. They have a monopoly on the banana market. We're granting it to them, so you must eat their bananas. That is what they have us doing with the Federal Reserve. We are forced to use their money. You think people just all of a sudden decide not to use gold as money anymore? No. FDR made it illegal to do so until the American population got used to using IOUs as money. That's what had to happen. It is a psychological phenomenon. But anyway, we are going to we can slay this dragon, guys. You just have to help me out by spreading the message yourselves. If you believe in freedom, if you believe in peace and prosperity like I do, then you have a moral obligation to do so. So thanks so much, YouTube. Thank you for watching. I have a lot of stuff coming up with the hard money mint in the future. It's just a slow process, and I'll talk to you more about that in the future. But anyway, Thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you later.